Good morning, guys. Today is December 19th, 2021. Happy Sunday. And it's about 5:25, 5:30 in the morning. And today I want to explain something. We're going to be going over a little bit of genealogy. And I want to kind of explain, or what I think, why genealogy is so important in the Bible. And it goes back to twofold. One, where did we come from? We care about genealogy. Who are our parents, who are our grandparents, and so on. Our nationalities and things like that. But in the Bible, as much as that's important, we need to understand that back, in these days, writing was very primitive. Writing was not something that everyone did. So it was word of mouth, or passing down these stories from generation to generation to generation, that gave them life, that kept the stories going. And the genealogies set the stage for these stories, for the people who are passing them to their children. So we're going to kind of do the next two verses in a weird sort of way. We're doing Genesis chapter 4, verse 17 through Genesis chapter 4, verse 18. And I'm going to read the genealogy, but then I'm going to go back to a certain spot that I'm going to skip over. So stick with me. It may be a little confusing, but there's a reason I'm doing it this way. Genesis chapter 17 says, Cain had sexual relations with his wife, and she became pregnant and gave birth to Enoch. Enoch had a son named Irad. Irad became the father of Magiel. Magiel became the father of Methuselah. Methuselah became the father of Lamech. I know, I probably butchered the name, but do you see, it kind of went from Cain, who we know, in the story of Adam and Eve and their sons, all the way through to Lamech. And the reason this is important is to know where they come from. Now, I skipped over, if you're reading in the Bible, I skipped over a part. And the part that I skipped over says, Then Cain found a city, which he named Enoch after his son. And the reason I skipped over this is because this is important. This is a moment where Cain is going right against the punishment that God had given him. God said he'd be homeless and wander the earth forever, or until he dies. Cain made a city, made a home in Nod, and made it so he didn't have to wander. He didn't have to do that. And why this is important is because sometimes when God tells us to do something, we do the complete opposite. We convince ourselves that we have to do this way, our way, instead of God's way. And I know that sometimes it seems like a good idea, and we're gonna learn this further, but Cain was punished because of his sin, because of what he did. And we're gonna see his family line and see how that is represented in his family line. There are things that repeat generationally. And sometimes they're spiritual things, sometimes they're thought processes, sometimes they're genetic diseases and things like that. And there's a reason that Cain's family line, even though Cain was banished, Cain's family line is in the Bible. And we're going to figure that out in a few verses from now. But I want to ask you, has God told you no to something? Full out no. But yet you still do it? And don't take this as a judgment, because I'm not judging you at all. I do it all the time. I hear no, and I say, but, I think it's best. And then I can tell you that it doesn't work out. But here is hope. I feel like this is a warning to us to follow what God is telling us to do. Like I said, we're going to talk a lot about genealogy in the next few days. Remember that it's important, because there's going to be a genealogy from Adam to Jesus, and showing where Jesus, what line Jesus's parents came from. Jesus' earthly parents, Mary and Joseph. And this is very important. What is your genealogy? Do you know it? Where are things that you can look back and say, I shouldn't think those things? Things like racial issues. Where is it that you see those things? Trauma, all that stuff. Where do you see those things in your genealogy? And how can you be the end of it? So that's my question to you today. And I hope that in that you can turn to God, and you can lay it down at the cross. You can confess what you've done, and you can allow the Holy Spirit to help you through this. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you have a great Sunday. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.